Good morning, wonderful people. How are you doing this morning? I hope you have subscribed to this channel. If you have not, please do well to subscribe. Please help me to subscribe. Thank you very much. Please stay tuned. I have a very interesting news for you this morning. As you're watching this video, kindly share to others so they can subscribe too and then watch. The title says, Presidency Bashed for Backing Pantami. Reps caucus seek seats, ministers exit. CAN, NBA, PDP, others say minister must go. As controversy continues to surround the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Dr. Issa Pantami, over alleged links to terrorist groups, the presidency has come under severe criticism for backing the embattled senior government official. Pantami, in one of his old sermons that resurfaced recently, praises notorious terrorist Osama bin Laden and also speaks highly of terrorist network Al-Qaeda. However, he recently apologized for his extremist views. But the presidency, in a statement by the senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, on Thursday said the administration stands behind Minister Pantami and all Nigerian citizens to ensure they receive fair treatment, fair prices, and fair protection in ICT. However, a cross-section of Nigerians, including members of the House of Representatives, the Nigerian Bar Association, and the Christian Association of Nigeria, slammed the regime of the President, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, for protecting an alleged terrorist. The minority caucus in the House of Representatives criticized the Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, for faulting how the minority leader, Ndudi Elumelu, called for a debate on the issues around the embattled minister. Opposition lawmakers argued that Elumelu came on the right order, saying Gbajabiamila should not have prevented a debate on the call. The caucus also condemned the chairman of the House Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Benjamin Kalu, for allegedly insulting Elumelu, asking the House spokesman to apologize to the minority. According to the caucus, while standing with millions of Nigerians, it demands that the Speaker should immediately act on the prayers of the motion by conveying the same as the position of the House of Mr. President, having accepted the appropriateness of the procedure and taking legislative note of the prayers therein. The spokesman for the caucus, Francis Agbo, on Friday said this in a statement titled Issa Pantami, Elumelu's motion properly presented on the floor. Minority caucus replies House spokesman. House spokesman caucus insists on the resignation of Minister Issa Pantami, calls on House spokesman to apologize to the minority leader over his reckless statement. The statement read, "Our caucus will not condone any unwarranted attack on any of our colleagues, let alone the minority leader who is doing very well by speaking the mind of the silent majority of Nigerians who have no platforms to speak out. In any case, we are aware that Honorable Carlo was not in plenary when the motion was moved. We expected him to have consulted the rule book before attacking the minority leader, for we believe if he had done that, he should have saved the Ninth House of Representatives the embarrassment his statement has caused. We therefore demand that Honorable Kalu should withdraw his statement and tender an unreserved apology to the minority leader and Nigerians for misrepresenting the roles of the House. However, in its response, the House issued a statement titled Issa Pantami Elumelu's Improper Representation. House refuses to withdraw statement and reiterates zero tolerance of terrorism in any kind, insisting that Elumelu failed to comply with the rules guiding presentation of motions on the floor of the chamber. In the statement, Kalu dismissed the argument by the opposition lawmakers, insisting that the rules of the House must be followed. The statement partly read, "The House acknowledges the severity of the issue and its nature as a matter of public concern. As always, the House stands ready to give audience to Rep. Ndudi Elumelu or any other member of the House on this issue, provided that such audience is sought through the proper channels and brought under the relevant rules of the House." The relevant issue raised by Honorable Elumelu, which is of all national importance, is inadmissible under privileges for what it seeks to address, since matters under privilege, once breached, must be personal and internal to the House. This is why all matters of privilege are sent to the House Committee on Ethics and Privileges, not to the President directly as the House resolution. As alleged by the yet-to-be-tutored spokesman of the minority caucus, one wonders what the House Committee on Ethics and Privileges will be doing with the sack of Pantami. Khan questions Buhari's willingness to fight terrorism. Meanwhile, the apex Christian body in the country has called on the Department of State Services, the Defense Intelligence Agency, and the National Intelligence Agency to investigate all the allegations raised against Pantami regarding his alleged links with terrorist groups, including Taliban and Al-Qaeda. The head of media, Khan, Pastor Bayo Oladeji, in an interview with Saturday Punch in Ibadan on Friday, said the Buhari regime had shown a lack of seriousness in the war against terrorism by allegedly turning a deaf ear to the weighty allegations against the minister. Oladeji said the position of Khan is that the DSS, DIA and NIA should investigate the allegations against Pantami. Turning a deaf ear to the allegations against the minister shows that the government is not serious with the counter-insurgency. In a civilized society, Pantami ought to have resigned or stepped aside. He should have voluntarily offered himself to be investigated, but in Nigeria of today, anything goes. The chairman, Ondo State chapter of Khan, Reverend John Oladapo, said the statement credited to the presidency on Pantami's link with the terrorist groups was an indication that the Buhari-led federal government was supporting terrorism in the country. Oladapo, who spoke to one of our correspondents, said the statement credited to the federal government on the matter was embarrassing, adding that the situation was that of Nigeria versus Nigerians in the fight against insurgency. The Khan chairman in Ekiti State, Reverend Father Peter Ololafe, urged the authorities to do the right thing and learn to promote justice and truth. Similarly, the PFN described the position of the presidency to the allegation against Pantami as a mockery of Nigeria and its people, adding that the minister ought to have resigned from office to allow proper investigations carried out into the allegations against him. The National Publicity Secretary of PFN, Bishop Emma Esom, in an interview with one of our correspondents on Friday, stated that the allegation of a terrorism link should not be overlooked by any government serious about fighting terrorism. NBA, PDP, CSOs, others say Pantami must go. In a related development, the Nigerian Bar Association criticized the federal government over Pantami's stay in office, saying the regime should not be seen as having sacred cows. The National Publicity Secretary of the NBA, Dr. Rapolu Nduka, told Saturday Punch, "I believe that public office is not a child's play. People occupying it should be accountable, whether his views have changed or not in between him and God. The government should not be seen as having sacred cows or that some people are untouchable." A former Minister of Finance, Mrs. Kemi Adeosu, resigned when the issue of her NYSC certificate scandal came up. That is better. In fact, it is wrong for people to think that Nigeria revolves around them. That is wrong and it is not true. Nigeria is bigger than any individual. This is quite unfortunate, and this leads us to the issue of Nigerian agenda. The presidency should not act in such a way that people would think that whatever they think or say is of no consequence. The presidency should not act in such a way to say that the views of Nigerians are not right or are of no consequence. Our leaders should not act in such a way or ask Nigerians to shut up. Also, a former vice president of the NBA, Mr. Monday Ubani, raised the alarm over the backing Pantami received from the presidency despite extremist views, aligning himself with Al-Qaeda and some of other terrorist groups. Ubani added that the president doesn't find anything wrong in his position. "I am alarmed. Pantami, is now a man with excess baggage, and nobody, no matter how much they declare him, will ever trust such a person whose antecedents are well known, and he has never renounced his views before it was found out recently. If he had renounced the views before he was found out recently, that would make me know that the man is truly a changed man. As long as he never renounced his conviction before now and he has found out, I will never believe that he has renounced those views." The People's Democratic Party, in a statement by its National Publicity Secretary, Kola Olobundio, said the presidency's support for Pantami shows a desperation to provide official cover to a terrorist. Olobundio alleged that it also confirmed apprehensions that the Buhari administration and the All Progressives Congress are patronizing acts of terrorism in our country, adding that Nigerians were traumatized that the presidency could mount a hopeless defense and justification for Pantami's action. It is instructive to note that this anti-people stance has heightened public anxiety that the Buhari presidency is a haven for traitors who are providing support to acts of terrorist activities in our nation. Our party holds that this has further exposed why the Buhari presidency has failed to decisively confront terrorism, as well as why terrorism, bandits, kidnappers, and insurgents are embroidered to ravage our nation and massacre our compatriots. It is inexcusable that the Buhari presidency is showing grave insensitivity to the fact that thousands of Nigerians have been massacred, maimed, and horrified, that hundreds of communities have been devastated, and that our nation have been under siege because of the actions and public comments by individuals like Pantami. The statement read, while calling for DSS investigation, the PDP urged Buhari to reassure the citizens by immediately withdrawing the statement from the presidency, relieving Pantami of his position as minister and taking a bold step to flush out terrorist apologists from the presidency. Similarly, a non-governmental organization, Center for Law and Civil Culture, gave Pantami a 2-week ultimatum to hand in his resignation and tender an apology to Nigerians. The center, in a statement by its executive secretary, Abdul Ghani Inira, and chief strategist Bayo Bernard on Friday said it will resort to legal action should the minister shun its call. Human rights activist Mrs. Aisha Yesufu also criticized the presidency for backing Pantami against the call of many Nigerians for his removal. Yesufu, in a video posted the Facebook on Friday, said Nigeria should not be seen as a nation that supports terrorism or entrusts the vital information of its citizens in the hands of a sympathizer or terrorist. The presidency is not Garba Shehu. The presidency is not even Muhammadu Buhari. The presidency is an institution, and that must not be seen in any way whatsoever as supporting someone who is now known to have been a terrorist sympathizer. We cannot be a nation that allows people who support terrorism to be out there in the public domain as our public servants. My people, this is all I have for you this morning, and this is really very very important that we look into it. I urge each and every one of us to stay tuned for the next news on this. Thank you very much. Please kindly watch this video, share, like, and subscribe.